if it works, because I think we're live, everyone. Everyone say hi.
Hello.
Welcome, everyone. I'm just scrolling. Yep, I see us. Look at us. Welcome to the first Spirits with Spirit ever.
Welcome, everybody.
I have my wine class that says, let's drink wine and judge people.
Yes.
That's what we're doing. Okay, so all of you know Christina and myself. We are the co-hosts of the Ghosties podcast. Thank you for joining us tonight. We have Sam and Kat with us tonight. And what is going on is we just shame on Uninvited Dinner.
Stop playing games. Come on.
Missy? Missy?
Come on, ma'am.
All right, spirits. Don't
right? Come on.
Missy, we can't hear you. You're frozen, hun.
Missy, can you hear me?
Well, Missy is just, she's frozen in time. So anyway, we're just going to keep going. So, I'm the Ghosties podcast, and tonight we had a really interesting Missy's heart. We had a really interesting development on one of the episodes when we interviewed Kat and Sam. Episode where we discussed the uninvited guest about did she go?
She just got uninvited.
Poor thing.
It was her.
Known as revenge.
Oh no. Well, we're still alive. All right. So anyway, guys, it's always like a tragedy every time we try and record Ghosties. It never, something always happens. So I trust that Missy will be back on the live as soon as she can, bless her heart. But anyway, so we had this interesting development. Some of us started having some more occurrences and run-ins with the female spirit that Kat and Sam spoke about during their episode. And basically, just to kind of recap what happened in that episode, if you didn't listen. Kat had an initial experience with a female spirit, or some sort of entity that kind of terrorized Kat over the course of several months, Kat, I would say. Yeah. Made her see all kinds of creepy stuff. And then Sam happened to come over one day and have dinner, and this lady followed Sam home. Followed her home, started terrorizing her in the same way. And after we recorded the episode, we started having our own experiences with this lady. So we thought that it would be a cool thing to get back up on recap. Oh, Missy!
Yay!
Hey. My internet went all the way off. Like, Mike got kicked off of his game on his phone, everything. I was like, oh, all right.
So that's what we're doing. Mm-hmm.
So I set this whole thing up for you to be able to come through and we can tell your story tonight. And that's how you treat me.
You're making it really hard not to curse you out, girl. JK, I feel like I was listening to that place to joke around like that.
Listen. I was listening to those girl. I will let you continue what you were saying, and I'm just going to sit here and be bitter.
But Kat, did you notice that it was breaking up though while Christina was talking, or is that just me?
Yeah, no, it was happening on my end too. And
okay.
So I was wondering, is that my phone?
We see you, girl. We see you.
Yeah. So you were kind of getting a little spotty there, Christina.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Fantastic. All right. Well, y'all have looked perfect this whole time.
Imagine that. Why are we getting the end of this tonight anyway?
You just gotta curse her out, girl. She's saying not to, but we're good. We got a great connection. This Wi-Fi has never worked better.
I may have already kind of cussed her out before I knew she didn't like to be, because I got really scared the other night in my room.
I mean, you play shitty games, you get shitty prizes.
It's true. You got to give respect to get respect, Nona. I don't know.
Sorry, I won't say that again.
Christina, you go back to telling the story, the little recap about what the story was about, and then we'll go.
Yeah. So anyway, so this female spirit followed Sam home and started terrorizing her in the same way, started appearing in her dreams, just making things uncomfortable. And so, Sam, can you just regale everybody about how you eventually got rid of Our Lady, and then we'll go from there.
Honestly, it was when my girlfriend moved in. So all this happened October 2017. My girlfriend moved in that following April of 2018.
Gotcha.
And until then, I slept with my lights on and the TV on every night if she wasn't there.
Oh.
I do that now after this episode.
Right? I did it last night.
Well, then the day of recording of that episode, I woke up to a clump of black hair on our cutting. It was about, I don't know, this long.
Mm-hmm.
It was several inches. It was kind of curly, had some gray hair mixed in with it.
Mm-hmm.
So I sent a picture to Missy, and I was like, this is kind of weird. Like, wow, that's kind of like witchy almost. That gives me kind of like some witchy vibes. We started recording. First, like, we couldn't even get into the Anchor app with app actually like just completely on it.
Yeah, it's breaking up right now.
We're breaking up a lot right now.
Come on, Nona. We just want to talk, girl. Like, please. Just keep it together, girl.
Gosh,
Just for a little bit, you know?
I know.
Right?
I
If
know.
you're sorry, act like it. Come on.
I know. I know. So,
Dang.
Maybe she's using that to gather up her energy to communicate.
Okay.
could be.
Well then.
I
Okay.
have the EMF reader here, just in case.
Ooh, God, there was a noise outside.
What?
It keeps saying the app is becoming unresponsive again, so we'll see how long I get to stay on it this time.
Oh Lord. Okay. So anyway, we record the episode. There's lots of like weirdness during the recording of the episode. Sam and Kat noticed their own sets of weirdness. At one point, like the audio cut out of the actual podcast, and it was almost like, Sam, was it your phone or Kat started to speak to
Mine.
Yeah.
While I was listening to the podcast from my TV on Spotify, texting my cousin about it. I had my phone open to our text message thread, and I wasn't touching my phone for the rest of the episode, and it recorded voice to text at that part.
Oh wow. Wow.
What's
Yeah.
funny is the exact where when we were actually recording the episode, the Anchor app kicked me out. But right around that same spot, I think, Sam, didn't you say that that's exactly where it was kind of picking up the recording too?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh, that is
Yeah.
why.
I think it was when we were talking about, or when I was talking about like the land.
The land. Mhm.
Over there in that area.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Well, that morning, or not morning, well, when Christina got here and we had her EMF reader, that's when we haven't told you all this, I don't think, either of you, but the room that I'm in right now is where we've been recording, and there was a spot on the wall that the EMF reader was going insane. Like, that's where I held it up to it, and it went off, and I like ran across the room, like nearly out of the room.
What
But
room was it in your house?
this is my living room.
Okay.
If Stevie's watching, my friend Stevie calls this window over here the purge window, I think. I've not seen that movie, and I won't, but it's like this whole open. Yeah, so I could get scared at any point.
I'd be terrified.
Back here on this wall, behind that couch over there where that bright light is where we found the spot that was like insane. But Christina couldn't see anyone, okay? She couldn't see anyone there. So we were talking about it on the episode. Well, when we talked about it yesterday, something happened. You were like, I can't see her, but I saw her like when I was meditating, but I can't actually see her, but she's here. So we figured out, and I'm getting goosebumps right now, that was her on that wall right there, making herself known, but not letting Christina see her. Which is also,
was it like in the corner of the room by any chance?
Yes,
Is that considered a corner?
Yes.
Okay, because after her walking up to my bed, that first experience, I was terrified of the corner of my bedroom till Cindy moved in. like terror.
Yeah.
Like just angry, scary vibes. Like I've lived in haunted places where I hear stuff, but the vibes were good. So it's like, oh, no big deal. Like looking back on it, it's like, that's freaking weird, but there was no harmful like intention anywhere.
Yeah.
This was just pure like, oh my God. Like I would go to bed at night, light on, TV on, blanket wrapped around my head like a burrito, and just like feeling just like something just burning into me through the sheets from that corner.
Real quick, if you guys are on, I know there was some, Ralph already has said hi, but if anybody's on watching us right now, I'm seeing all the comments up here, so I can interact with you. So if you guys have any comments or question or anything, we can answer them while we're on here. So I didn't mean to cut it off.
Hey guys.
Welcome. If you're just joining again, it's Christina and Missy of the Ghosties podcast, and we have Kat and Sam. We are talking about the episode that was the uninvited dinner guest, which was the old witchy hag lady, which we actually have recent developments on. And yes, she was apparently in my living room. She left her hair at Christina's house. She started at Kat's, went to Sam's after dinner, and then has been just kind of circling around all of us since we started talking about her on this episode, which is pretty wild.
Yeah.
So, and we all have had weird things this week. She's actually been at Christina's house, and I'm like, bless you for keeping her there, because she's not allowed here. And we all know we've all cussed her out of our houses up and down and left and right, trying to get her to scoot it along.
For sure. I told her tonight, like, we're cool to talk and everything. Like, you can come through, but you cannot stay. I was like, and I accept your apology, but like my stance on that is never changing, girl. Like, no.
That's right. That's right.
That's the apology. She's not welcome over. Sorry.
So like throughout the course of the week, even right after we taped, I dreamt about her.
It's okay.
Is it breaking up?
But I forgot what you said. It was, but I feel you.
Okay.
It's the red room. She's in the red room. That's where we record, and that's where weird things happen. It drains all of your energy in there. Like weird things happen.
Yeah, it's an interesting room. But anyway, right after we recorded the episode, I dreamt about her. I was just seeing her at a distance, and I could see some of my guides, like, almost like showing her where the door was. Like, okay, get to step in. But so then this week, I woke up with this awful migraine on Tuesday. And what I didn't know was my husband also had one. He got up the same, had a migraine, went to work. And what I found out later was both of us got rid of our migraine at the same time. So that day, I ended up canceling them because I didn't feel well. And when I went into meditation that morning, I could see this lady, and she looked like the description of what one had described her to look like. She looked similar to the lady in the dream that I had, and she looked really angry. So I didn't want to leave her, kind of pushed to the sideline if she was clearly there to get my attention. So I started messaging Missy and telling her, like, hey, I think I have this lady here.
And I was like, nope.
You can keep her.
Keep her there.
Yeah. So anyway, I started talking to her, and I found out just from being around her energy, she was definitely an earthbound spirit. And for anyone here who doesn't know what an earthbound spirit is, it is a deceased person like you and I that has just crossed over into the other side once they have experienced death. They've decided to stay here. So she finally told me what her name was, though I don't think it's really her name. I think this is just what she was comfortable with me. She said her name was Nona. And I think a lot of us know that Nona can be a nickname for an Italian grandmother. So when she told me that, then you guys started chiming like, wait a minute, because I didn't even remember that portion of the story about her looking Italian, something of that nature.
And how the EMF reader really reacted when I started speaking in Spanish.
Yeah.
Like very sternly in Spanish.
Yeah. So that made help her cross over.
Is she breaking up to everyone else?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we're getting what you're saying though, but it's just
It's pretty, pretty spotty.
I'm like literally right next to my Wi-Fi, so it's got to be.
I know.
It's not you, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm like, is it mine end? Is it your end? What's happening? But I'm like, Ralph said yes. You're breaking up to him too. Yep.
I'm sorry. But anyway, I also help her cross over, and she declined. But one of the things that she was really insistent about towards the end of the conversation was apologizing to Sam and to Kat about the experience I had with them. The way my guides made me feel, she looked very scary. Looked like the typical description of what a witch would be. Very, like the story version almost.
Mm-hmm. The shawl and just, Mm-hmm.
And I can see why, based on experiences that, you guys had and then had, that people were afraid of her. But she was very, I got from that she had a lot of grief that she carried with her upon passing. And that grief turned to sadness and then just hardened her heart. And she just carried that with her. That's why she started appearing, scary.
Yeah, anger is definitely the energy and the vibe that she put off the whole time.
One of the things I was asking Christina is like, she was saying she wasn't meaning, like she's got this grandmother energy and she wasn't meaning to scare people and that. And I'm like, well, then why in Kat's dream was she like running at her with arms out? And I think, Christina, you kind of explained it like she was trying to exist in this space without being bothered or seen, kind of. And when she realized you knew she was there, she's like, get away from me. I've got just so many chills right
she
now.
She just freaked out.
Yeah.
Because when she appeared to me, she was young. She was young. Yeah. She didn't look disheveled. She had curly hair, but like the little shawl around her, like almost like a nightgown. And she just peered at me just very peacefully. And it was like the opposite. Like I didn't feel any fear or anger. She disappeared. But then after that, it was just it was a bad vibe. It was no more peace.
Right.
And what's funny? The first week that I was living in that apartment and I saw the shadow figure next to my bed, I just got the vibe that it was curious and that it was looking at me and checking me out and figuring out what I was about. And so I wonder if it was only after that it got angry. So I think maybe that's when she realized, oh, she can see me.
She can see me.
Because she was very aggressive, like didn't hurt me physically, but made it seem like she was going to.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Kat, can you talk about your experience the other night? Like your weird happening?
Yeah, that was weird. That was really the only thing that I've experienced this week, other than just kind of weird feelings.
Mm-hmm.
It was the middle of the day. My boyfriend and I took a nap just because it was the middle of the day and we were tired. So we took a nap, and I kind of had this dream, much like the other dreams that I had at my old place. Only this time it was like my boyfriend was standing in the corner of the room, just like looking at the bed, wearing exactly what he wore to take a nap in, and was just kind of looking. And I kind of got this weird feeling, and so I asked really loudly, like, "What are you doing?" But I asked it so loudly that it kind of woke me up a little bit more, and then I realized that he was in bed with me, and then there was nothing in the corner. So that was the weird experience that I had this week. But other than that, I mean, I've done a lot of praying and asking for protection this week, and so I haven't really experienced a whole lot else. I think she was messing with y'all at y'all's places, which is where she's staying. No offense.
Funny, let's see about this too, but it was right after we taped the episode. It may have been either that night or the night after. But upstairs we've got a basement, and and I were down there, fell asleep in the room next to him. And I jolted up and I said out loud, it's going to happen again. And like, what do you mean it's going to happen again? And I had no explanation. But shortly thereafter, things started with no. And I don't know. I mean, it could have been a complete coincidence, but I don't think it was. So it's very interesting.
I cannot handle how much you're breaking up tonight.
Right?
See,
Crazy.
on my end, I look fine. Like usually if I start breaking, I'll see it and it doesn't look like that. So that's
the video isn't breaking up though. It's just the audio.
It's just the audio. Yeah. And
I'm reading your lips and to fill in the gaps of everything.
Ralph says it sounds like someone's trying to talk through your mic.
I thought I heard a man's voice when you were talking about your dream cat. Is your boyfriend there with you now?
No.
Okay, I definitely heard a man's voice on the microphone, and I was gonna say
sure it wasn't
something,
me.
but I was like, "It's Kat's boyfriend there." She's talking about the story. He's obviously chiming in and being like, "Oh yeah, that shit was crazy."
No.
Okay, no, I heard a man's voice, clear as day, 100%.
Could have been me. I'm just kidding.
No, girl, I go low too. It was lower than we could go.
Or we thought the other day, Missy, where you were like, "Can you bring your chest?"
Oh yeah, a lock of hair from her chest. It was
that voice had a lock of hair on their chest, girl.
Not she. Ralph says, I'm hearing voices for sure, and no one else is talking. So I'm interested to see who's back, and see how it sounds on their end, because we're all like, for everyone that's watching, it may only be Ralph. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Ralph.
We are on this specific platform that I was able to pull because Facebook only lets you have one person on with you. So I was able to pull all three of them through with me. So we are actually, on my end, I don't know how it is on y'all's end. Are y'all, how are you even seeing this? Because I'm seeing it through this app.
It's 4 different squares. I just have it on my phone open on the browser.
Okay, so it's probably through StreamYard also. So yeah, that's how we're seeing it. So we're not, Ralph, no one is behind Christina's camera. I can tell you that right now. I guarantee her husband is not in there.
And there's no man in my house.
He sees somebody in the glass behind you, allegedly.
Okay, stop, because I keep looking in that corner the whole freaking time.
Always in your china cabinet.
Oh, never mind. I'm looking in the other corner.
I just saw, is Kyle walking back and forth in there? Because I just saw. No, it's her. I think it's her face when she turns her head. Maybe not. Maybe.
No, I think somebody is in here because I've been hearing stuff kind of.
It's also you a little bit. A
little bit of the back of her head, like on the top left corner of it, like our left, as like looking at it.
A little bit of you, but I guarantee there's probably somebody in there because there's always somebody in there with you. So. What else are we going to talk about this? We had a whole thing the other night. I know that Sam, you did a whole like blessing of your house, and like my husband doesn't believe in all of this, so we have an electrical issue right now.
Sure you do.
He's right there where I can see him, and he's smiling. he's like playing on his phone. I'm like, there's just been it's weird how just after this whole thing where we've all been having issues with things, suddenly we have a house electrical issue, which God forbid anything happen in here, but
Yeah. Oh, that was the other thing. The night before I talked to Nona, that was the night that I was sleepwalking and ended up like in the doorway of our bedroom.
Stop. What is up with her in doorways?
I don't know. I mean, I've been a sleepwalker since young, but usually I don't do it. I'm like really stressed or really tired. I'm really tired, but I don't know. Just a lot of sleep stuff started happening when. So.
Yeah, because after me having that first sleep paralysis, after seeing her and then not being able to move, I had multiple episodes of it, and I had never had it before in my life. And I wasn't stressed out or anything. My only stress was the craziness happening in my house.
Yeah.
Now, see, I have a new baby, so I don't really get to sleep. So I don't think I sleep long enough for weirdness to happen. But I don't want to push that either. So.
Yeah. Yeah, it was very interesting. It has been very interesting. I thought before I got on the live, I thought that I was hearing my guy she had crossed over, but I was wrong. They said that she still hasn't crossed. So
I definitely feel like I have felt her kind of like passing through
yeah,
ever since ever since recording the episode.
yeah.
For sure. There's been a couple of nights where I've like purposely told Cindy, like, I'm going to fall asleep out here. Don't wake me up until you're ready to go to bed too. Like, I just don't even like after busting it, like I already know, like I do have protection and everything, but it's just like an unsettled feeling of, I would just rather not even be alone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's been crazy. I told her yesterday, I said, I don't want you to feel like you're unwelcome, but at the same time, it's not the best place for you to be here in my house, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You know, you deserve better than that. You deserve to go home. You don't need to be in my house until the end. You know, I've asked my guides to, you know, keep an eye on if that's something that she's open to. But it was very interesting to be able to talk to her and see, you know, just from a different, I guess, lens and viewpoint about, you know, some things that we initially view as scary or, you know, really terrifying in our lives can be something completely, you know, different that we didn't anticipate. I thought that was really cool about this.
I would like to ask Nona if she is going to make herself appear in my house to come through with some really good like Italian recipes because I could do some of those. She wants to add a little something to my pasta sauce. Like,
Yes.
hey, girl, I'm here for it.
I get that the grandparents that you have in your house probably wouldn't let Nona stay in your house for very long. They would tell her to get to stepping.
Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Kenneth was pretty no nonsense, like state your business. But Mike's grandparents, I don't know. They're pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Who knows?
They probably.
There was something else that you wanted to tell us about her, Christina, or have you already told us that and I wasn't paying attention?
It was that I thought she had crossed over. I was wrong.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. When I first went into meditation, I really thought that that's what they were saying, and they were like, "Hey, let's." Yeah, guys. Anything else spooky happen with anybody else?
I had a migraine on and off all day today.
Nona.
Mm-hmm. And I even kept saying, like, girl, knock it off.
I think my favorite thing that Nona said about Kat and Sam, she said that Sam wove expletives like tapestries. And I got cracked up about that.
Yeah, that was freaking hilarious. Thanks, Nona.
It was like,
That was cute.
I guess the comparison she was showing me was like women in her time didn't talk. They weren't really allowed to talk. The feeling that she'd given me was like maybe she was from like the 1300s. So she was like, it was very shocking to see women that were so boisterous. Wasn't. And that's what throw hands at somebody.
Can we, since we've kind of gone over what's happened since the episode, I think it kind of would be fun to go back and have Kat tell the beginning of her story again, if you don't mind. Just because there are people that are watching right now. I see we've got like 7 people watching right now because we're so big time. No pictures, please. Just Kat, if you want to maybe tell a little bit of the story about this uninvited dinner guest, which is what we called the episode. Even if you just want to tell like a little snippet, whatever you feel comfortable telling, because there are people that don't know what we're even talking about right now.
Yeah, definitely. So I had moved into a new apartment in 2017. And the first week that I was there, I went to bed early. The boyfriend I had at the time was kind of out in the living room. And I had just gotten into bed and pulled up my sheets and was getting comfortable. And I saw somebody standing next to my bed. So I thought it was the ex-boyfriend. So I looked over and I could hear him speaking in the other room. So I was like, okay, it's definitely not him. And the more I focused on the person standing next to my bed, it was just pure black. It was just like a black figure, like a shape of a person. But it was very clearly a person. But I only got the impression that it was curious. So I was like, okay, well, if it's not bothering me, I won't bother it. I just kind of noticed it and turned over and went to sleep and let it happen. Didn't really know what else to do. But after that, things kind of started to happen. So there was one night that my bathroom locked itself from the inside. I would hear, kind of knocks around the house, usually at night. There was a corner of my room that I kind of just felt like somebody was watching me from. Just got this uneasy feeling from this one corner in my bedroom. And you could see that corner from anywhere, like at the living room too. You could see that one corner. So it was kind of just like she was always watching me unless I was in the kitchen or in the bathroom. And then there was one night that my music just turned all the way up, just full volume in the middle of the night. Woke me up from a dead sleep, and my cat was nowhere near it and I was nowhere near it. So it's kind of little stuff like that until the other person that was living there moved out. And then that's when the nightmare started. And so I would have like these night terrors where I would wake up just literally screaming out loud, which I've never done that before. And sometimes I would remember the dreams. So it would be creepy, like spiders coming down from the ceiling, and I would wake up screaming. But there was a couple of times that I saw this woman who was, she presented to me as older. She was older, kind of scraggly hair, night dress, real skinny. She would start in the corner of the room, the same corner that I always felt uncomfortable. And one night, like, I woke up, I felt somebody watching me. I looked in the corner. There was an old woman standing in the corner. And once we locked eyes, she started taking off running, like full speed at me. And as soon as she reached me, I woke up screaming. And then there was another night, and this is when I started really cussing it out. I woke up again, felt like something was watching me. I looked up, and in the same spot that I saw that shadow figure the first week that I was there, she was standing there. And she just kind of started throwing hands over me, like she was gonna scratch me to death or something, only she wasn't touching me, but that's exactly what it looked like. And she kind of had like this maniacal sort of look on her face. And I woke up literally punching at the air like I was physically fighting her, again, like yelling out loud. And this time I was just mad. Like I had like these nightmares happened like twice a week for months, so I wasn't sleeping well. And when I woke up, it was freezing cold, like ice cold, sixth sense, you can see your breath, like freezing cold. And so I just started cussing it out. I was like, get the F out of here. You're not welcome. I'm not effing scared of you. I'm just mad because you're making my house cold as hell. Said a whole bunch of stuff that I'm not going to say on a live stream. And then kind of angrily went back to sleep. But it was that weekend that Sam and Cindy came over for dinner. And I didn't
set them up.
So sorry. So sorry. I told her she had to get out. I told her she wasn't welcome. That weekend, Sam and Cindy came over for dinner, and I will let you tell it from there.
Take it away, Sam.
Well, a lot of pieces just came together right now because I've been trying to figure out, because there was a gap between going to your house for dinner and me having that episode of sleep paralysis. Up until that point, so I lived alone at the time. And before that, I've always had to sleep with my TV on at least. Living here alone, when it was time to go to bed, all the lights were off, no TV on. I would sleep in the pitch black silence and be comfortable and be peaceful. So I had never felt fear in my house until that morning. It was 6 a.m. where she visited me. Today, we were talking earlier in our chat, or yesterday, you mentioned that Farm Fresh, or what used to be Farm Fresh, over, I won't say exactly where, just to protect our location, but you know where I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And I had to leave that morning, like I said in our episode, at 4 a.m. to go bring a key back to my job that I accidentally took home, and I wasn't working that day, and they needed to have it in the morning. And it was when I went outside to go that I just felt a presence. I just left outside. It was just very quiet and still. It was mid-October. And it felt like a witchy old woman. I just can't explain it, but that's just the presence that I felt standing outside. And I was just like, ooh, no, that's weird, but whatever. I got to go to work, drop off this key. And by the time I got home, went back to bed, it was about 6:30 in the morning. And I heard my audio get weird there. That's kind of weird. But it was about 6:30 in the morning by the time I went to bed. So it was already light out. I could see, no need for the TV or the light on because my room was light. And I'm laying in bed on my back, which I don't normally do. And as I'm about to drift off to sleep, I hear my front door open. And nobody had a key but my mom and my landlord at the time. And neither of them would show up unexpected like that, especially at 6:30 in the morning. And that's when I looked over because I slept with my bedroom door open, which is something I have never done before, living here alone. And I see her and this big white marshmallow Baymax looking figure standing right behind her, kind of just, coming down the hallway. And she peers into my doorway. The big white thing just vanishes. And then she walks up to my bed. And it's a young woman with the short curly hair, same length of the hair that you found on your cutting board, which is interesting. I had a friend point out to me that it's very interesting that was placed on the cutting board, like as if she just cut it off right there on the freaking cutting board. I didn't even think about that until my friend said that. So I did want to mention that to you guys. But yeah, she had that short hair, young. She had like a shawl, a dress, and she just walked up to my bed, looked down at me and stared. I kind of just looked at her kind of like in a trance because normally you would think somebody walks up to your bed, you're going to freak the heck out. But it was just kind of like, who are you? She disappeared. Then that's when I kind of snapped out of it and it was like, somebody's in my house. And then that's when I couldn't move. My whole body was pinned to the bed, shoulders at my side, literally just kind of like a mummy in a freaking casket or something, just kind of, shaking around. Mm-hmm. And eventually I was able to get up. But long story short, after that, I had different episodes of that, of being stuck, unable to move, or feeling the weight pressing against my back and pushing me onto the bed. Different experiences like that, and bad dreams just in general.
Sam, do you have bracelets on?
I do. I have black onyx on.
Okay. Is it making a noise? Is it snug or is it moving around?
No, it's snug, girl. It would not make a noise.
I'll hear the sound though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but each of y'all have had each time you talk, at least on my end.
Oh yeah, when you started talking about it, Kat, like right when you got to the part about her, your audio started messing up, and that was the first time your audio's messed up this whole time. I heard my own audio mess up right when I got to the part talking about her.
I want to go into something really quick. That Christina kind of found in a book that her guides were telling her, look at this book because there is something about like a hag or an old woman. And I don't want to say folklore. I'm going to misspeak, and I'll let you talk about it, about how her coming and making herself known when there's like turmoil in her life. But there was also something about either her changing her appearance or having something else that appeared with her that reminded me of the white marshmallow blob.
Yes, I said the same thing too. It was when in that same passage that Christina sent. Because that's the one detail of everything that has just like not fit into it. I've always been like, what was that thing? Like what the heck was that? That was so strange. And like cartoonish almost. And then seeing it, I think it said like seeing it clear. If you see it clairvoyantly, you could see it as like some big, tall shape.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So then that's what you said. You think that they were both her. It was her and just that reflection of herself.
The way that my guides made me feel, because I told them about what explained, and they said that sometimes people have been earthbound for a prolonged period of time. They can still appear as they did, while they were here on Earth. But spiritually or like energetically almost, they start to look almost featureless.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Always the case with each of them, they said. But the analogy they gave me was that Pixar movie Soul, where lost souls eventually start looking like black and bloated and less. That it's kind of the same thing because they're not in a physical body anymore. So it's all an representation of
their form.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. For her in that moment, the way they made me feel, distorted kind of like Ghostbustery look was all of her grief and all of her sadness making her like that.
Sorry, I heard something creak behind me, and it was not my cat.
Welcome to the Ghosties podcast.
Whoa,
Wow.
that's mine. It's mine. Hey, come on.
Okay,
I said we could talk, but like you gotta for real chill out.
what's happening?
It's mine. All right, come on. 1 second.
Apparently I had an orb fly by the camera, so there's that. Are you sure? Is it the lights right there? Can you see them? There's like we have an LED thing over here. It's a light thing. Ralph, was that it, or was it something different? Because we have like a light thing out here.
Do you guys still hear it?
Yeah.
I don't hear anything.
It's pulsing. It's just doing some weird thing.
Like a loud, pulsing, kind of staticky noise.
I don't hear it. So
I don't want to get rude, but
no, it's not the
Please.
light outside. Okay, apparently I had an orb fly through.
Ralph, are you still with us?
Ralph is watching.
Can you hear that, Ralph? Can you hear that?
He said something flew right at my camera. Just let's stop right now.
I'm gonna unplug my headphones and then plug it.
At some point, I will share on our pages the orbs that apparently it's really loud over here, or that's Sam. I don't know if it's me or Sandy's talking.
It's on my phone. I just unplugged my headphones and the noise is coming out of my phone.
I'm going to share some footage from my child's, one of the cameras I have in my older son's room.
Even when I mute it, it does it. Should I leave and come back?
Hey, Miss.
I can't hear you. What did you say?
I can't hear you. What'd you say?
Wrap it up.
Wrap it up. Okay.
What's happening?
Let's wrap it up and let's talk let's talk in the chat, guys. Let's wrap it up here, but we gotta reconvene. Okay?
Yeah. Thanks everyone for joining. Sorry to cut it short. Bye.